Yes, Sneha. Hi, Sneha. We are live now. Uh, Thank you so much, Sneha, for taking out time. So today we will having a discussion on research-based investment, focusing towards our NRI friends, HNIs, and we'll discuss about the small case, your research-based investment, gift city, and these things. So Sneha, can you just please introduce yourself?
Hi, thank you, Vijendra, for having me. It's a real pleasure to do this with you. I know we've been, hustling on this for a while.
Yes.
So very excited to do this. And quickly about me, I'm Sneha Jain, 15 years into the financial markets. Founded Weltress Capital Services in back in 2015. We are a wealth management firm plus a SEBI registered research analyst, and I'm very excited to come here and discuss, what it looks like to be investing in India, what the future holds, where we see the equity markets heading, and how investors can make the most use of equity as an asset class, in India. So yes,
Yes.
all very excited to do this. Let's start.
Yes.
Let's
Yes.
get started.
Yes, Sneha, thank you so much. And Sneha, this is since this is your domain of expertise, so this is an opportunity for me also to learn a lot from this conversation. So we'll start with a small case. Can you please shed some light on a small case, what it is, and is it a good investment strategy for investors, and what is the profile of what kind of investors profile can look into this instrument?
So, as I said, we are a SEBI registered research analyst. Under this, we have our curated equity small cases. We have various baskets on various platforms, but we will stick to small case for this discussion. So, basically, small case is an aggregator which aggregates all expert baskets, small cases on their platforms, which are created by SEBI registered experts, which are focused on equity, debt, gold, everything as asset classes. And there are various strategies within that. So, one can look at it very similar to how a structure would be where an asset management is doing a mutual fund, but that is under a trust structure. Here, all the investments that you do sit in your demat account, because this is an aggregator which has all your broking demat accounts, trading accounts that are linked on this aggregator platform, and where you can buy the securities. They sit in your trading demat account, and but are kind of they are researched by these experts who are in the business of research. So you get both, best of both worlds. You can buy the securities at your own disposal. You can have the option of taking discretionary advice, meaning you decide. Okay, if you unblock a small case and if you have 10 securities, but let's say you don't want to buy one, that is your complete it's your decision at the end of the day. So you have the option to kind of take research services by experts. So that is the idea of the platform. But what we do there is, because we are a SEBI RE and we've been in this business for very long. I mean, the founders and the partners and the principal officer has a combined experience of over 20 years. The idea of doing this is to bring a very curated portfolio, which most retail audience, or even audience who are in that range of investing 20-30 lakhs, does not have that kind of a available option. Because when you're investing that much only, right, you can't be in a PMS, you can't be in an AIF. You have to be in this kind of a place where you want to buy stocks on your own, but you don't have the option to buy them because you don't have research advice, right? Or you go to the mutual fund and the wealth space of things, right? So this is a great place for investors who don't have a lot of capital to invest, who are in that bracket, which is with a lower capital, but want to enjoy or want to do equities on their own, where they get this expert advice, which also, so the idea of building this business was to bring equity to retail investors. That's the idea of the platform. Um, and how do we do our research? So we have various small cases on the platform depending on your risk appetite, what suits you. I mean, we have portfolio with only 9 stocks, and we'll have portfolio with 25 stocks. Of course, the 9 stocks one will be highly volatile. Also depends whether they are mid small cap in nature or they're in large cap in nature. So depending on what suits you, you should kind of select your small case, and that's the idea of these small cases.
Yes, Sneha, you mentioned about PMS and AIF. So I'll just briefly explain to our viewers about PMS and AIF. I hope, I believe that those who are not aware about what PMS and AIF is, both PMS is Portfolio Management Services, and AIF stands for Alternate Investment Fund. Now, these are also like approved by Security and Exchange Board of India, and the ticket size for PMS is it starts with 50 lakhs, and ticket size of AIF starts with 1 CR. And very rightly said, Sneha, you have mentioned about investment strategy, because I have also observed like some of the investors randomly, like they are having their own stocks, and they pick their stocks, and they mostly driven by the cognitive biases, and not backed by research. They're driven by cognitive biases, and they're driven by hearsays, what they listen on television, or listen through some people on YouTube these days. So it is not backed by research. Yours is backed by research. You have your own research team, and that's what your business is. So, Sneha, like for this small case, any investors coming to you, they need to pay a certain fee, and that fee is renewal every year. And you also give advices on when to buy additional, or when to sell, or when to make some sell and buy some other stocks. Can you please briefly
Absolutely,
mention that
absolutely.
also?
I'll explain that a bit. So let's say someone comes in, buys into a small case. There are options of buying 6-month portfolios and annual portfolios. So let's say someone buys into an annual portfolio. What you basically get is, you buy it annually, and you get the option, the shares unlock, right? When you buy a subscription, then you buy those shares in your demat, in your trading account. And once you bought it, every time our analyst does the rebalancing, you get a notification to rebalance the portfolio, and that's when
Right,
you go
right.
ahead and rebalance the portfolio, meaning whatever sell option we've given, you sell that security and you buy the security. Of course, we also provide rationale as per regulation, as to why we're selling a security or why we're entering into every security. So every call that is given is backed by a fundamental rationale on why we're doing it, or technical, depending on why we're changing the securities. It's backed by proper research on the platform. So the whole year
Yes.
you keep getting these buy sell recommendations as and when we're buying selling, because we've written there whether it's a quarterly rebalance or a 6 monthly or a
Yeah.
weekly, or 15 days, etc. We've given some kind of indications on the platform. Also, at every year end, you have to renew the pack if you want to enjoy the subscription and the rebalances time and again. So of course, this pack is meant for the period you've taken it, so you will get those advice for that period, and then once that the small case expires, you have to renew the small case.
Right. And what is the minimum ticket size one can look for to
So
invest
there is
through?
minimum, on the small case itself, you can see that you can buy 30,000, from 30,000 to 10 lakh, 20 lakh, and how much ever that amount can be. But ideally,
Right.
right, if the fees is an X amount, you should go ahead and buy at least a minimum of 2, 3 lakhs to kind of add up, because otherwise your expense will be too high, and that will not
Absolutely.
add up in making money for you. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, now Sneha will move to the next, and we'll discuss about. I'd want you to request you to talk about your core product, core expertise
Right.
that you're offering and your team is offering,
Right. So,
and
I would like to
how it.
discuss. Yeah.
Yes, and how it will be how does it benefit our investors, particularly those investors who are not residing in India and can take advantage of availing your services.
Okay, so actually, you can do a trading account for NRIs, but small case for NRIs, you can just buy into it, but you can't trade through the platform. You'll have to buy at an individual level, right?
Mhm.
Because it doesn't support the NRI feature as yet. That is
Right.
one part to it. But the second, what I would like to say is, see, for anybody, right, who is sitting on the outside or sitting, who is not doing this research themselves, what we have seen is they're
Mhm.
buying into too many stocks. Their portfolio has 40 stocks, as you said, right? On every tip and on every,
Mhm.
someone's talking about the stocks, they go and buy into it. So if you're anyways
Mhm.
going to
Mhm.
build a 30, 40 stock and one stock does really well, and then you're only talking about that stock doing well, I don't think that's the way to look at investments. Every investment journey has to be looked at, from a IRR or a CAGR basis, right? At the end of
Absolutely.
the day, you
Absolutely.
sat on a 10-year stock. I mean, how much return did it give you? And if it was just giving 10%, what if you had just done it in a fund? Your risk will be lower and you would have a pool of investments, right? Like a mutual fund.
Right. Right.
So,
Yeah.
I think that a lot of people don't talk about. They only talk about their wins in the stock market, and that is very important in the creation of wealth. Why do we rebalance? Because it is important to rebalance. Even a good stock may not be a good stock to buy at that time.
Mhm.
Within when it comes to stocks, there, finding a good company and keeping on buying on that company is very important in the journey of that stock, right? So a very core capability that we have is doing cycles. Okay, so we really believe in capturing cycles of the market. So we believe there are
Yeah.
three cycles that we like to capture, which is economic cycle, sector cycle, and the business cycle. So the first is the economic cycle, whether India is in the growth phase of things, right? At least for a country like India, etc. Even though in a zoom in, the market has been like quite volatile, but on a in a long period, the markets have been quite linear. So
Mhm.
in an economic cycle where we are, but now right now we zoom in, right? If we see recessionary pressures in the US, how will it impact India? What the economic cycle looks like here? Now, for the next 5 6 years, of course, we are very positive on India, given the demographics of the country, given the consumption story of the country, given so many good things happening for India, right? On a
Yeah.
overall basis, right? Our standard of living is improving, our infrastructure is improving, and the government
Mhm.
has been very pro growth. So we believe economic cycle wise, India is in a good phase. Now comes to the sector cycle, right? Now, within that economic cycle, there may be a few sectors which will do really well, and there may be a few sectors which will be laggards, right? So we recognize those sectors when we do our research, right?
Mhm.
Every analyst group, right, or every research house will have their core capability, and this is what our core capability is: recognizing the cycle of the
Yeah.
business. So even like giving an example, during the period of an example of Infosys I would like to give here. During the
Mhm.
period of 1999, right, when the whole IT boom had happened,
Yeah.
what happened from 1999 to about
Mhm.
2005, Infosys price, right, it had
Mhm.
peaked out. And if someone had bought Infosys at that time, and till 2005 it came to that same price, it went down the curve and then it came back to the same price. It took 6 years for that stock to just come to that price. So if someone had bought the stock at that high PE, right, the high valuation,
Mhm.
I mean,
Mhm.
it would have just not added up, right? Even though Infosys is
Yeah.
such a good
Yeah.
company. So today, if people talk about, 30 years, how much have they grown in it, right? But
Yeah.
let's say if you had bought in that peak time, right? I mean, you would have taken
Mhm.
6 years to even return to that same price. So we do
Right.
believe that, every good company, bad company, they all have cycles which are,
Cycles. Yeah.
and the cycles can also be, they are in a flattish cycle, they are in a growth cycle, and then they have a pivot in business, and then they go to the up cycle. And actually it's not
Yeah.
like it's late growth stage and then they all come down. It's not really always that way. So we truly believe that every business has its cycle, and what as analysts or what as a research team we like to see is when is that sector cycle of coming up, and how within that cycle we can find good business opportunities which we can go ahead and invest, right? So our
Yeah.
portfolios, right, are quite narrow. I mean, we have
Mhm.
two baskets, multidimensional and cyclical, which are just about 8, 9 securities. So we believe in
Right.
high growth, but where we are capturing the cycle in the business.
Right.
That's usually our core capability. And that's where you will see high volatility, because some businesses, when they pivot, right, they take time
Mhm.
for to happen, right? Because they pivoted from a
Absolutely.
business, etc. So we've captured them in the down cycle, but for that cycle to turn around and really money to be made, there may be a little lagging, or time period may be higher. But we really believe these businesses can be great growth potential businesses. And though our portfolios are very customized and curated in a very narrow basket, because of the asset mix, right? Because we are capturing 3, 4 cycles,
Mhm.
and we are not only going for one particular sector. We capture 3, 4 sectors that we believe are going to do
Yeah.
very well in 2, 3 years, 5 years down the line. We capture those cycles,
Mhm.
and within them the businesses. So it's a very top down, bottom up approach. From the top down, we are seeing the sector and the economic cycle.
Yeah.
But when we go into the business, then we do bottom up within that cycle,
Mhm.
what business we think is the best valued business. So PE is
Yeah.
very important in how we even see it, and that's where I gave the example of Infosys. Even if it was,
Mm.
it was a good time for IT, but if we felt
Yeah.
that the business, valuation wise didn't make add up, then we would have not gotten into that business. So I think valuation
Right.
plays a very important role in us entering into the business at all.
Yeah.
So that's how we, kind of. So these two are our core competencies. We also have, for someone who may not want to take the risk of just 8, 9 stocks and a very highly volatile portfolio,
Mhm.
we also have something like a value multi cap, which is a little more diversified, which has large, mid, and small cap companies, but a little more diversified, where we look at value companies. So, where the valuation of these
Mhm.
companies may not be at the very high end, but these are intrinsic values really good. These companies are something that we believe that will be less volatile, but will do well in the coming years. Though most of our
Yeah.
portfolios will have this kind of our core competency will be part of most of our portfolios, where we have that business cycle, sector cycle thing. It will
Mhm.
somewhere be part of that, but we run these portfolios separately from each other. So there will be that
Right.
underlying, which is, let's say, value. You know, so we do have
Yeah.
those couple of portfolios which has more stocks in that sense.
Mhm. So Sneha, investors whose basket, whose portfolio size is good, say more than 60 lakhs or above 1 CR. So what are the products that you are offering? And these are the investors who prefer to do it themselves, but they need some research. So what are the research that you provide, and what is the frequency of feedback that you give in a year?
Correct. So see, these are the small cases that I spoke about. Yeah, and they are largely model-based portfolios, right? They are already as they are already allocated into 7 to 8 stocks, and anybody coming in then just buys into those stocks, right? Because they are
Yeah.
based as a model portfolio as such. But when it's let's say someone wants a more customized portfolio, right, or something
Yes.
which is more research back driven. So we run these
Absolutely.
portfolios where we give monthly long term equity calls, where we give
Hmm.
calls as per the research we are conducting, where we have like a proper full-fledged research report written on why we are betting on the stock, and you can hold on to the stock much long term until the analyst targets are met. So this is a little long drawn form of research, where we do it's not customized at a client to client level. We have again, like how we will have baskets, right? For someone who's coming in a model portfolio, we
Right.
can just buy it from small case. But for someone like this, he can come. We have it on our platform where it's meant for higher allocation, where
Right.
your
Right.
risk appetite is higher, and then the securities
Hmm.
in that basket will be potentially such companies which is where the research methodology is a little different or
Yeah.
very more detailed.
Yes. And the churn, the portfolio churn is not very frequently.
No,
Like
we
how
do not
frequent?
believe in frequent rebalancing. As we said, we try to
Yes.
do business cycle or sector cycles.
Right.
So
Right.
we definitely will not have very high churn. We will only churn if we believe our targets are met on the security, or there is a big change in the business cycle, uh, or the sectoral cycle, or we
Mm-hmm.
feel that the sector may go through a difficult phase, etc. So we will not rebalance very frequently. Usually most of our rebalances are quarterly in nature.
Right. So, is there anything else that you want to add about your research that you give to your investors, like whoever purchases your research,
Right. So in
particularly
research, I would
for
like to
HNI? Hmm.
say this only, that our research is very very detailed in nature. uh, what we do is capture cycles, and I feel like a lot of strategies out there, right, can be quant driven, or but ours is very
Hmm.
fundamental in nature. So we do
Yeah.
feel that the more time, the timing of the stock, right, also does matter, as in
Hmm.
what valuation you're entering into a very good stock also. So it could be a great
Yes.
company, but buy it
Hmm.
anytime doesn't add up in our philosophy. We definitely believe buying a stock at the right time is very important again. And also frequent rebalances eats up into your churning cost, etc., which you should be mindful of. So um, we believe our the way our research is definitely very very in depth, and it's something that we really vouch for.
Right. So, स्नेहा, आपके पास जितने भी क्लाइंट्स हैं ना, इस तरह के जो रिसर्च परचेज कर रहे हैं आपसे, तो व्हाट इज द रिन्यूअल रेशियो?
It's
So
actually
that will give
very
a,
high.
it will, yeah, it will give a no like a glimpse to prospective investors
So I
about your
think,
performance. And
yes, yes, absolutely. So what I feel is the investors who come to us, right, are investors who are not looking at a very trading mentality. And most of our investors, right, because the way our multidimensional or cyclical is, they are more HNI kind of investors. What I mean by HNI is at least investors who have an
yeah.
appetite to do higher, but then they do 2 3 lakhs to
Hmm.
begin with, but always try to add more. And they really come back to us to ask, right? Of course, now when the markets fell last 3 4 months, right? Of course, the
Yeah,
portfolio
yeah, yeah,
volatility was very high, and since we have lower number of securities, our volatility is definitely high. But they
yeah,
come back with questions on this, and we give regular weekly updates to our investors and clients to keep them, quite involved in why and what and why a research thesis is very sound, and why we
mm.
feel that what we've taken is definitely a good stock.
Yes, yes, yes.
Um,
Right,
so our renewal rate, I think, is quite good, but I wouldn't have the numbers right away. But we have more than 3,000 overall subscribers on all our platforms, and on
right.
Smallkey specifically, we have clients who are definitely high net worth within the small case
Very,
pedigree.
very good.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
good. Sneha, now quickly we now briefly we'll discuss about the Gift City,
yeah.
India's first IFSC International Financial Center, Financial Services Center, uh,
Right.
and because you see, and specifically, we want to inform our HNI friends and NRI friends specifically, because in my own experience, because I have also been an NRI for more than 6 years, and I understand what are the no, what do you call uh,
Hiccups of
क्या
investing from there.
hiccups and awareness का भी lack of lot awareness, because you see मोस्टली जो है ना, जो एनआरआईज होते हैं ना, फोकस्ड होता है उनका, दे इधर रियल एस्टेट, ठीक है. Secondly is insurance products, because you have some branches of the banks, and they are mostly
Right.
into pitching them insurance products. And these days, because of a lot of awareness about mutual fund, many are coming into mutual funds, but again there is a lot of hesitation because lack of awareness. Even the HNI investors, they are not aware about products that you are offering, products like PMS and AIF, and the new gift city route, you know. अच्छा, इसके अंदर गिफ्ट सिटी में व्हेन आई हैड डिस्कशंस विद few of my NRI friends and no potential investors, they had two major concerns, you know, even if it is through gift city. uh, no, इन्वेस्टिंग में मतलब आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट गिफ्ट सिटी नाउ, आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट जनरली जो इन्वेस्टमेंट होता है ना. तो फर्स्ट इज वो रिस्क है, जो करेंसी का जो ये करते हैं ना, एक्सचेंज रिस्क, ठीक है.
Right.
एंड द सेकंड वन इज द बिकॉज रुपी का वो हो रहा है, द डॉलर इज अप्रिशिएटिंग, पाउंड इज अप्रिशिएटिंग, and the
Yeah,
rupee is
the rupee has been
depreciating. So
depreciating for.
they are making a huge loss there also. No, although
Hmm.
in the market returns are higher, but when it comes to redemption, although they are saving on capital gain, but they're losing out on this one, what do you call, the currency devaluation.
Correct.
So
Correct.
uh, can you just shed some light on the gift city project, like how
Of course.
is it beneficial for our NRIs, particularly those NRIs who have a big ticket size, because even invest in Indian market through gift city, the ticket size is 1.25 crore or something like that, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's about $150,000.
Hmm.
But there are tranches that you can give it in over a period of 1 year or over a period of 6 months, etc. Depends at an asset management level, right? Whichever
Mhm.
they are providing. Now, first, I would like to come to that currency risk and the currency exchange risk, right, that you
Yeah,
spoke
yeah,
about. Of course,
yeah,
this is only meant for clients who have that minimum investment amount that they can put in. But what Gift City has done is made it very easy for NRIs to invest, or even foreign nationals to invest
yeah.
in India. Now, let's say you're a foreign investor, you're coming in from UK or the Europe. I mean, UK and Europe as markets, right? I mean, US
Mhm.
apart, UK and Europe as markets will have seen, of course, much lower growth than the Indian market, right? And we are a $5 trillion economy, and just probably a
Mhm.
little lesser now because of the markets. But if you really expect an Indian economy, right, to go double also in over a less 5, 7, 8 year period. I mean, we
Mhm.
are
Mhm. Mhm.
expecting exponential growth in India. I mean, I look at it at a parallel or from a relative basis. Will UK or the
Yeah.
Europe or even the US grow that much? A little
Mhm.
doubtful, right? Though US
Mhm.
has these
Mhm.
amazing AI tech firms, etc., which actually, if you go
Mhm.
go to see US, the Nasdaq has done much better than the S&P 500, right? In general,
Mhm.
like the
Mhm.
Nvidias of the world, etc. So now from here on, right, if we are talking about growth from US to India, I mean, do
Mhm.
we feel that, forget your US, Europe, or even like other economies, even China is a little, it was more stimulus based, at least the growth in the interim period. But over time,
Yeah.
we'll only know. But India, the kind of capabilities that we have, right, and if you're even an NRI sitting abroad, what if 10 years later you want to move to India, right? I feel this is
Yeah.
all your growth money. So this is
Right.
money, even if in India you're buying real estate, you're taking that risk of stamp duty, etc. Right?
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
feel
Mhm.
exchange risk is something that we can't completely say it will be otherwise. But I don't think given the longish period of 10 years, our currency may not depreciate so much more. Right, that is one part. How much the growth will be? So I feel the growth will definitely be much better than the
Mhm.
currency depreciation. Now, in gift, you get a lot of
Yeah.
benefits. When you send money from your NRI account to the Indian account to do mutual funds, you have to convert it, and then you
Mm.
have taxations,
Yeah.
etc., that you have to take care of.
Yes.
But let's say you're a citizen sitting in Singapore, Dubai, UAE, or Europe, etc., and you are coming through the gift route. you invest through your foreign account, right? Now, investing through your foreign account, which makes it easier because you're
Yeah.
investing in your foreign account, so you are investing in the foreign currency. Of course, the
Yeah.
fund is doing the exchange because they are investing in Indian underlying at the end of the day.
Mm.
But you
Mhm.
get their underlying, and when you redeem, you again take it back in the foreign currency itself. You don't have to do the conversion at your end. You actually the
Absolutely.
whole structure does the conversion.
Mm.
But of course, the currency risk will anyway stay. I don't think that will go away because at the
Yeah.
end, the security underlying
Absolutely.
is
Yeah.
Indian, right?
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think that whole route is very, very convenient because then the taxation is in the hands of you as at your
Mm.
country level. So if you're in Dubai, etc., probably
Absolutely.
there's no tax, but it's
Mm.
it's at your country level, and you don't have to bother about the Indian taxation laws
Yeah.
in that
Yeah.
from that aspect. And of course, it's basically funds that are available in India through the NRI route also. So a lot of AMCs are just launching
Hmm.
mutual funds there, which are again
Yeah.
broad-based diversified funds, which are as good as
Hmm.
what you do it here. Plus, they have other options of X of India or emerging economy, emerging
Mm.
economy baskets. If you are unable to do it from the country you are in, if you feel this is a better way of doing it. Also, you have AIF, unlisted securities. You have all the possible
Yeah.
options
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
Gift
Yeah.
City. So
Yes.
it's
Yes.
just developing. More and more
Mm.
products are just going to keep getting
Yeah.
added there. So it's an excellent way for people, foreign nationals and NRIs to participate without having any
Yes.
documentation, paperwork, hassle at the time of redeeming the
Yeah.
money.
I mean, it has simplified investment so much for NRIs investing via Gift City.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that
Both
whole PAN card,
investment.
having
Yeah. Yeah.
the whole
Yeah.
investment in India and the kind
Yeah.
of the whole route that they had to take will become really
Yes.
uncomplex with the Gift City.
And it is growing. I mean, it is still in a very nascent phase, so long way to go, but it is phenomenal,
Absolutely,
step taken. Acha, Sneha,
absolutely.
Praveen Sinha has asked, what is the best investment option for NRI? So, what advice would you give?
I would say for NRIs, right? I mean, I think liquid investments, which are equity market driven, are I would always be biased to that. We're a research house, and we do public equity. But yes, I think from a perspective of growth, as long as you are in good securities, you've invested in the right things, and you've done the right asset
Yes.
allocation, I think equities are an excellent proposition for NRIs because I mean, I would just say stay away from things you don't understand. Again, being
Absolutely.
NRI, handling something which is a liquid asset here, which is probably real estate or things which are not in your complete control. I yet feel
Mm-hmm.
liquid assets will be much better.
Sneha, I always give advice to my clients and to my brothers that the the best swimmer on this planet, Michael Phelps, है ना, उसने जो रिकॉर्ड बनाया है, मुझे नहीं लगता कि कई सेंचुरीज तक वो कोई ब्रेक कर पाएगा. Although he has been the best, he still have always had a coach, Bob Bowman.
Right.
So even the best on the planet, they if they are considered to have a coach for themselves. So even when it comes to investment, always take expert advice. Always go with an expert
Absolutely.
advice.
I think that is a very good thing, Vijendra, that you mentioned. I think a lot of people think that, DIY is possible. It's just something which, I think an expert only adds a lot of value to your overall proposition. You may do it well for 1, 2 years, but then
Mm.
since this is not your full-time job,
Yeah.
it may just get difficult and more complex. And
Yes.
the thing is, finance is so easy and we make it very, very complex. So
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
long as someone is here to demystify and make it easy
Yes.
for you and be an expert in your journey for a long time, uh,
Yes.
definitely an expert is much needed.
Yes. And second advice I always give to everybody that there is no free lunch. Never ever expect to get things for free. Be willing to pay for the value that you are getting, because
Hmm.
there are people who are working, making a lot of effort to create product for you and services for you. So be willing to pay, and आई मीन टेक द बेनिफिट. सो फ्री वाला चीज जो है वो जो यूट्यूब पे फ्री का मिलता है और हर जगह or even you see, Sneha, I'm sure you will agree with me, and everybody who will be watching this will agree with me. Even those things that comes in the media are
Right,
not necessarily always unbiased, because media is in the business of in the business. They are not doing charity, isn't
right,
it?
right.
So
I
always
mean,
go with
see, I
the
just
expert.
feel, yeah, and the more you keep watching news, which can really deter your wealth creation journey, that news is not good news. But yes, if
Yeah,
you're watching news and doing your research out of that news is very different. So,
absolutely.
research, I think news needs to be really filtered to your
Yeah.
best use and not something that misleads you
Mm.
or misguides you in your wealth creation journey, because see, there's a lot of noise out there. If you're
Absolutely.
going to believe every noise and you are
Yeah.
going to structure your wealth creation journey or your
Mm.
investment
Mm.
journey basis the noise, it will be very difficult to be a disciplined investor.
Mm.
A disciplined investor is someone who shoves the noise out and rather says that this is how I want my wealth to be created and this is how I'm going to be more disciplined about my investing journey, and I will take proper research into that
Mm.
and just stick to that journey unless a very big change is coming where you need to pivot even in your
Yes.
journey, right? So
Absolutely.
I think those things are very important to understand, which the noise can take you away from. Absolutely.
Mm. और न्यूज में भी ना there's more of noise and very less of content. एक मुझे याद है मैं
No, again, see, it depends, right? What channel you're watching, I mean,
yeah,
it just depends. I won't say all news is bad news, right? Because a lot of publicly available news, right, also helps in our
yeah,
own
yeah.
research. So
Absolutely, absolutely.
let's not contest, what is good, bad.
Mm.
I just feel you should know when to kind of, you
Yeah.
know, break through that noise is very important.
Mm. But it's very good entertainment, स्नेहा. पिछले 20 साल से वर्ल्ड वार वर्ल्ड वार करा रहे हैं. एलियंस एलियंस बुला रहे हैं. So it is very interesting. Okay,
Right.
last we'll discuss like the future of Indian market and how NRIs can take advantage. Briefly आपने discuss किया हुआ है, बस
To
इसको
just
summarize करके
summarize,
we'll
I
close.
will
हाँ,
say that the Indian market, uh, everything is going right for the Indian market. I mean, where we are, right, we are very underdeveloped in some sectors. We are seeing big growth in these sectors at a consumption level because people's incomes are increasing. People are going much more abroad, sending money from abroad for their parents, etc. There's so many things happening, right? In India, demographic wise, we have a good government who is pro growth, so we see a lot of infra spends. Of course, sometimes some slowdowns, but we see a lot of infra spends. When we go out right now, even in Mumbai, right, we see that coastal road is made. Of course, it's changed the
Mhm.
map of Mumbai, so it's happening pan India.
Yes.
So that much more infra spend means that much more, your
Mm.
ancillary industries will do well, and that much more growth. We are seeing a lot happening on the energy sector, where a lot of things are moving into EV. People are becoming consumer discretionary, meaning people are spending on high growth stuff like
Mm.
expensive watches, and so there's so much, right? So much growth, 100 crore people
Mm.
plus. So I mean,
Yeah.
that many more people on income levels are rising, and especially this year there has been that pro consumption thing, right? Because 12 lakhs in the hands of the taxpayer, which is where the taxes have come down up to 12 lakhs. So there's lots in India, I think, that is happening at a consumerism level also. We believe that a few sectors to watch out at least for the next 7-10 years in the Indian growth story will
Mhm.
be healthcare, hospitals, etc. I think
Yeah.
there's a big list there, right? We are very underdeveloped in those areas. Underdeveloped meaning our bed to that ratio is not that good right now. That is changing.
Mhm.
So of course we're going to see
Yeah.
a lot of spend on
Mm.
healthcare, I
Yeah.
believe,
Yeah. Yeah.
as a nation, because that's really the need of the hour also. So
Yes.
we believe healthcare, hospitals, pharma, that sector is going to see a lot of growth. Also consumerism, big consumption spend, especially discretionary, is something that
Yeah.
we feel is going to really change the landscape for India.
Mm-hmm.
Energy is going to be something, that again could be a very interesting thing to watch out for.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
AI tech, we do have a lot of
Big thing.
capability.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
big
AI
thing.
thing.
AI tech is going to be a big sector
Yeah.
as well. And of course, green energy I already mentioned, infra I've already
Yes.
mentioned multiple times. And
Yeah.
there's one more sector which could see a big boost is financial services, because
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
all of this happens, right, financial services is something which is like the core of this
Absolutely.
growth. So we are going
Yeah.
to see a lot more on financialization, and financial services could do really well. So I feel
Sneha,
from an Indian story,
mm,
there are six, seven sectors which really stand out. And
yeah.
if you're an NRI, I feel, depending on which country you are in, I mean, there are
Mm.
only that many countries which will grow so well for the next 7, 10 years. So my bet is on India for sure.
Your views on this sector, travel, tourism, and hospitality.
See, India doesn't have any travel tourism right now. I
They're
think
working
that
on it. They have
exactly.
started to work on it very recently.
Exactly. So at the moment we were more domestic led, right? Domestic people
Hmm.
only used to travel in India, but I think India's travel is really going to boom for sure, because we don't have travel as an industry as such,
Yeah. Yeah.
domestic, right?
Yeah.
Which is
Hmm.
going to happen for sure. But my bet is definitely on the five, six sectors that I said, which are
Right.
larger sectors, I feel.
Yes.
Because as
Yes.
a country, right, uh,
Hmm.
we are already too many people to expect more travel tourism. I mean, see, short term, yes, I mean that is something that is
Hmm.
going to happen. But from a perspective of the population, I feel that these five, six sectors that I spoke about, these could be really changing the future of India.
Yes.
Yes. I mean,
All
they're
right.
all sectors, right? And at the
Hmm.
end of the day, there's so many more sectors in India which will do really well. So travel
I,
tourism, of course, for a short
hmm.
period, if you ask me,
Hmm.
it is something that is going to change or tide over. But as I already said,
Yeah.
these five, six sectors are things which can't go wrong with.
Yes. So yeah, I based my hometown. It's a very small. It used to be a very small town. It still is. Deoghar in Jharkhand. So
Right.
it used to be very very quiet and small town when I grew up over here. But last 8 to 10 years, we have witnessed tremendous growth. Now we have an airport over here. The AIMS is full-fledgedly
That's what. So
functional,
the infra growth
and
has already
yeah,
started. We have already seen
yes,
that. Pan India,
yes,
road
and
connectivity.
yeah,
Yes.
and we have direct connectivity from Kolkata, from Delhi, from Mumbai. Recently, direct flight has started from Delhi. We have direct connectivity from Bangalore, and will connect to lot many other cities. And the flow, the tourists, because it is my town is known for it is a temple town. It's
Hmm.
known for religious tourism. So it is one of the Dwadas Jyotirling and Shakti Peeth. I mean, this is the only place where you have both Jyotirling and Shakti Peeth as the same place. So it's very, very, and we have seen the growth in the flow, because earlier South से लोग को आने में बड़ा ये होता था. मुंबई से
Correct.
भी लोग काफी आते हैं.
So because में
And I
क्या होता
invite
है
you,
ना,
Sneha. Hmm.
टूरिज्म सेक्टर जो आप बोल रहे हो ना, एक तो ये बहुत ही कम स्टॉक्स है, similar to defense, right? It's just 15, 16
Yes.
listed companies. Actually, it's very low. So when I'm talking about sector, right, I mean, the way at least I look at it, right, is a little larger sector. Like consumption, when I said consumption, somewhere tourism is included, right? Because if consumerism is high, I mean, travel a
Hmm.
lot, right? Travel is a very big thing of
Hmm. Hmm.
consumption as a
Hmm.
story. So what I'm saying is these are much subsectors, because
Hmm.
there are that many only listed companies within the travel
Yeah.
space.
Hmm.
So I totally get you, but again, as I said, it's not a full sector by itself. Of course,
Yes.
there
Yes.
may
Yes.
be
Of course.
4 or 5 good companies within that, but
Of
which will
course.
probably come in the consumption sector. Yeah.
Yes. Hmm. 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 Hmm.
Completely. I
Yeah.
mean, as you're seeing, right,
Okay,
India has
Sneha.
a
Thank
big
you.
growth
Uh,
story to
hmm.
talk about. There are so
Yes.
many
Hmm. 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 Hmm.
developments, connections,
Hmm.
and east to west and north to south, the way the whole roadscape is connecting.
Yes, 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 yes,
Going to
yes,
see
yes,
big growth in it,
yes,
but that much
yes,
more
yes.
infra development, that much more green energy, that much more consumption. I mean, I
Yeah,
feel these are really big sectors that we are talking about.
absolutely, Sneha.
Yes, yes.
So when I come Mumbai, we'll meet, and I invite you to visit Devgar.
Yes,
It's a beautiful
absolutely. Now
place.
that you said the connectivity from
Yeah,
Mumbai is,
yes, 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 yes.
I would be very excited to come by. I think Mumbai is a city, we rather come to something where which is more quieter.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. It's a
Yes,
beautiful place. You will love the place.
amazing, amazing. Thank
Yeah,
you
very
so much.
spiritual as well as otherwise also. Thank you, Sneha. Thank you so much for your time. It was a very interesting discussion. We'll do it more.
Yes, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
yeah,
Pleasure.
yeah.
Bye.
Bye bye.